Picture this. You're sitting alone in a quiet room, the kind of stillness that amplifies every thought. Outside, the world hums along, indifferent, but inside, your mind is tethered to someone else. Their voice, their absence, their hold on you lingers like a shadow you can't shake. You tell yourself you want to let go, to feel free, unburdened, but the moment you try, a pang of guilt, longing, or fear pulls you back. It's as if they're woven into your being, a thread you can't cut without unraveling yourself. And yet, a deeper question stirs, faint but persistent. What if holding on is what's breaking me? The silence grows heavier. You're not just caught, you're trapped in a paradox, craving both connection and liberation. This is the emotional entanglement Carl Jung understood, not as a mere feeling, but as a psychic knot, tying you to another through invisible cords of projection, need, and identity. Jung, the Swiss explorer of the soul's depths, saw detachment not as cold indifference, but as a sacred act of reclaiming yourself. To emotionally detach is to face the parts of you that cling, and to ask why. How do you loosen that grip? What makes it so hard? And what does it reveal about the self you're trying to find? Jung's psychology offers a starting point. Our emotions aren't just reactions. They're bridges to the unconscious. When someone consumes your thoughts, a lover, a parent, a friend, it's rarely just about them. Jung believed we project parts of ourselves onto others, seeing in them what we can't yet see in us. The partner you can't let go of might carry your anima or animus, the inner feminine or masculine Jung saw as archetypes of the psyche. They feel like you're missing half because you've outsourced your wholeness to them. Detachment, then, isn't about cutting them out. It's about calling those pieces back. Let's break it down. Imagine Lena, a 30-year-old teacher, haunted by her ex, Mark. They split a year ago, but his memory lingers. His laugh, his criticism, the way he made her feel alive in small and equal measure. She checks his social media, replays old fights, feels a mix of anger and ache. Jung would say Mark isn't the issue. Lena's projection is. She's cast him as her animus, her strength, her spark, because she doubts those qualities in herself. To detach, she must face that doubt, not Mark. Neuroscience backs this. Rumination, like Lena's, lights up the brain's default mode network, trapping us in loops of memory and emotion. A 2023 study found 60% of people struggle to move on from relationships due to this neural fixation. Not love alone. But why is it so hard to break free? Jung's concept of the shadow looms here. The shadow holds what you reject. Your flaws, fears, unspoken desires. When you're emotionally tied to someone, they often mirror parts of your shadow you haven't faced. Lena clings to Mark because he reflects her insecurity, her need for validation. Letting go means meeting those truths head on, and that's terrifying. The brain resists. The amygdala, wired for attachment, treats loss like a threat. A 2024 study showed social rejection activates the same pain centers as physical injury. No wonder detachment feels like tearing off a limb. Now let's add philosophy. Jung was influenced by Nietzsche, who saw suffering as a teacher. To detach, you must embrace the pain of solitude, not flee it. You must be ready to burn yourself in your own flame, Nietzsche wrote, a call to face your inner fire. Jean-Paul Sartre's existential lens sharpens this. You're free to choose, but freedom means owning the anguish of letting go. Clinging to someone is easier than facing the void of you. Jung's answer wasn't to numb the pain, but to dive into it, to ask what it reveals. For Lena, the ache of Mark's absence points to her unworthiness, a shadow she must integrate, not escape. Society complicates this. We're conditioned to equate attachment with loyalty, detachment with betrayal. Romantic myths, soulmates, the one, make letting go feel like failure. A 2025 Pew survey found 70% of young adults believe relationships define their worth, tying identity to others. Social media amplifies this, with curated posts stoking comparison and longing. Jung saw through such traps. The collective unconscious feeds us archetypes, lover, savior, that we project onto people, mistaking them for destiny. Detachment requires defying those scripts, choosing your own story. So how do you do it? Jung's methods are practical yet profound. First, self-reflection. He used dream analysis to uncover projections, but journaling works too. Ask, what does this person represent to me? Lena might write that Mark is her confidence, revealing her own lack. Second, active imagination. Dialogue with your inner figures. Picture the person, ask what they want, then shift the focus. What do I want for myself? This rewires the narrative. Neuroscience supports this. Expressive writing, per a 2023 study, reduces emotional fixation by 40%, calming the amygdala. But detachment isn't just mental, it's embodied. Jung saw the psyche and body as one. Trauma research, like Bessel van der Kolk's work, shows emotions get stuck in the nervous system. Practices like yoga or breathwork, Jung was fascinated by Eastern traditions, release that tension. A 2024 trial found mindfulness-based movement cuts rumination by 30% in 6 weeks. Lena might start with a walk, feeling her steps, grounding herself in now, not Mark's ghost. Small rituals, burning a letter, rearranging a space, signal closure, telling the brain it's safe to move on. The shadow demands attention here. Jung insisted you can't detach without facing what you've projected. Lena's anger at Mark's criticism mirrors her own self-judgment. Ignoring it fuels obsession. Embracing it frees her. This isn't quick. A 2021 study on grief found integrating painful emotions through therapy or art takes months but yields lasting peace. Jung's individuation is the goal, becoming whole by owning all of you, not outsourcing it to others. For Lena, it's realizing she's enough without Mark's validation. Let's scale this up. Emotional attachment isn't just personal, it's cultural. Systems, family, religion, capitalism thrive on your dependence. A 2023 report showed 65% of people stay in toxic jobs or relationships due to fear of failing socially. Jung's collective shadow shows in our worship of external saviors, gurus, influencers, ideologies. Detaching from one person often means detaching from those larger hooks, a radical act of selfhood. Viktor Frankl, who survived the Holocaust, echoed Jung. Meaning comes from choosing your path, not following another's. What's the cost of not detaching? Jung called it neurosis, the psyche's revolt against a fractured self. Lena's obsession with Mark could spiral into anxiety, depression, a life half-lived. A 2024 mental health survey found 55% of adults feel trapped by past relationships, unable to grow. Arthur Schopenhauer, darker than Jung, saw clinging as a denial of will, a slow death of the soul. The alternative is daunting but alive, detachment as rebirth. It's not about erasing someone, it's about reclaiming the energy you gave them. The process hurts. Jung never sugarcoated it. There is no coming to consciousness without pain, he wrote. You'll face loneliness, doubt, the temptation to run back. A 2025 study on breakups found 50% of people relapse, texting an ex, revisiting memories, because the brain craves the familiar. But Jung saw pain as a guide, not a dead end. Each pang is a question. What am I avoiding in myself? For Lena, it's her fear of being unlovable. Answering it slowly builds a self no one can take. Back to that quiet room. The shadow of that person still lingers, but now you see it for what it is. Not them, but a mirror. Jung's voice whispers, the meeting with oneself is, at first, the meeting with one's shadow. You pick up a pen, or take a breath, or simply sit with the ache. What do I need to see? The question isn't a blade to cut the tie. It's a light, soft but steady, showing you the threads you've woven. Detachment isn't the end, it's the beginning, a step toward a self you've yet to meet. The room feels less heavy now, the silence less like a trap. What's on the other side of letting go? That's yours to discover. What will you choose when the mirror clears?